Welcome to the 2000 Q&A session. Today I shall be answering some of your questions, including a handful from the previous Q&A session, as to not leave them behind. Let's get started. Our first question for tonight is by Colgate. Do you have any plans on doing regular gameplay with commentary? From what I've seen, you are a decent player with game sense. Maybe sometime in the future when I can get access to a capture card, since at the moment I do not currently have one in my possession. I don't think I do them too often, but maybe once in a while if people are wanting to see it. Our second question is by the Boss Hunt King. If there was one video that you could remake, which one would it be and why? Honestly, I would remake the documentary I had in November, since I ended up having to cut out a lot of what I wanted to add in purely to time constraints, as well having to rush it a bit towards the end. I'd like to add in more personal perspectives from each of the mentioned creators and offer their sides of the story. Our next question is by Miniman. What's your standpoint on the recent disappearance of Rux? Initially, I thought that Rux had been discontinued entirely and that other features would be following with it. However, I am now relieved that they plan on eventually fixing him, especially with me being 2 cosmetics away from completing the sticker book. Our next question is by Theramulo. Which class was you excited for when Garden Warfare 2 was released? That would easily be the Imp class. I mean, who doesn't love getting to call in a massive robot that can just stomp the enemy team with little effort? Our next question is by Christina. What Get Good was the most painful one to record so far? Easily the hardest one to make was the Get Good for Party Rose, because holy shit, that character fucking sucks. Our next question is from Epic Brown Code Zombie. What is the main reason you became a YouTuber? I would easily say that the main reason I started making content is from out of sheer boredom. Hell, even back in the early days, I wasn't expecting much of an audience to support me with what I made, yet here we are, 18 months and 2,000 subscribers later. Here's a question from the old Q&A from DJ Gamers. When did you become a moderator for Explode in Apple's Discord server? I've been a mod on Jack's server since late 2017, so about 4.5 years ago. The next question is from Rishamule. What is your favorite game outside of PvZ, and what other games do you plan on covering for the channel? At the current time, my favorite game to play outside of PvZ would easily be Bloons TD Battles 2, and I would maybe be able to cover it someday if OBS wasn't being such a bitch and trying to record it. Our next question is from Purple Green. Are you willing to make streams? Well, that's something I unfortunately cannot do at the moment, since I do not have a capture card in my possession. Maybe someday, once I have access to one. Our next question is from an unapologetic Canadian. What would you do if you could go back in time? Not really sure. Far too many options and so little time. Our final question for tonight comes from RD Coop. Do you plan on doing the rest of the BFN characters, and do you plan on putting them in a separate playlist? I do plan on making the rest of the BFN characters. If anything, I have more options now since I have access to a Nintendo Switch, meaning that I can do the Get Goods on that platform as well. As for organizing them into a dedicated playlist, that'll be done once all of the dedicated videos for them have been done. Thank you to everyone who has submitted a question for this Q&A session. If your question was missed, do not fear, for I plan to do future sessions at a later time. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more shit like this. Have fun.